and do that, because that's just above and beyond, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant, yeah.
Bradford Bulls Academy graduate Ethan Ryan has extended his stay with the club with a new 2-year deal. The outside back has excelled under the tutorage of new head coach Rowan Smith after scoring 6 tries in 6 games, most recently grabbing his first professional hat-trick last Sunday versus Whitehaven. Really like this player, very, very quick, good under a high ball. He's perhaps a little bit thin at the minute. But he's only young.
Yeah, he's a rangy so-and-so, isn't he?
He'll bulk out, I reckon, but he's been solid as a rock since he's come into the first team, so he's an exciting prospect. Staying with Bradford, 6 of the Bulls Academy stars have signed first-team contracts for 2017. James Bentley, Liam Kirk, Ross Oakes, Brandon Pickersgill, Josh Rickett and Brandon Wilkinson have all penned professional contracts with the club. Pickersgill, Bentley and Kirk featured in the pre-season friendly against the Castleford Tigers in January, which saw Kirk cross the whitewash in a win, whilst Oakes has featured twice in the first team in 2016 in victories against the Dewsbury Rams and Workington Town. Again, really happy with this and the progression of some of our young players.
A change in tack from Bradford. The last time they promoted this many young players through was probably during the financial...
1800s?
No, it was probably the year after Big Potter, wasn't it?
Even then...
First Franny Cummins year.
Even then, I don't think we brought this many through. Look, I think... I was reading on...
When you have your people like your Addies and your O'Briens and your Mellors.
Yeah, exactly. No, it is good to see this coming through. And look, our academy is pretty highly thought of. And someone made the point on one of the forums that actually one of the best 2 signings that the club's made under Mark Green has been to bring in John Bastian and Lee Beattie, who have really just, and along with the support of Matt Diskin in the under-19s, have really taken the academy on, and we've got some very highly thought of young players. We've actually signed up a 16-year-old recently to an under-19s contract who was being courted by pretty much every Cameron something, I can't remember his name, Cameron Stewart I think his name was, pretty much being courted by every Super League team out there. So it's good to see, and it's good to see that we're investing in a longer term strategy for the club as well. So good luck to all those young lads as well, and it's always nice to see. This one made me smile more than any signing that we've made all season. Don't you dare fucking shut me up.
Not Dane Chisholm?
No, I was happy with this. Dane Chisholm will be with us.
Chisholm.
Yeah, I'm done now. Chisholm will be with us a couple of years, and then he'll move on to someone else. I'm quite sure. These lads are, these are Bradford lads who want to play for the club for, have been watching us on the terraces. Halfback Steve Roper has left Oldham and signed for the Rochdale Hornets. Roper spent 4 years at Scotland before signing for Scotty Naylor's men midway through the 2014 League One campaign. He was an influential member of the 2015 promotion side, but he has only played 12 of 24 Cup and League games this season and hasn't seen action since limping off injured near the end of the 46-10 defeat at Dewsbury Rams on the 12th of June.
Oh, it's my wife's birthday.
Oh, there you go. The Board of Directors at Halifax have confirmed that they have instructed the club's solicitors, Chadwick Lawrence LLP, to apply to the President of the Law Society to appoint an arbitrator to resolve the long-standing disputes which continue between the club and Coaldale Metropolitan Borough Council, the MBC. The disputes, some of which have been ongoing for more than 12 months, relate to the activities of the MBC in connection with Fax's use and occupation of the pitch and other facilities at the Shea Stadium. February 2016 saw the disputes reach something of a head when, according to the club, the person in charge of the council department responsible for the management of the Shea refused to enter negotiations about a matter of alleged outstanding rent. The rugby club dispute the claim for outstanding rent. So hopefully the CMBC and the Shaman can sort this out, because the last thing you want to see is them being made homeless.
Yeah, it's
by any stretch of the imagination, isn't it?
It's crazy to think that there's problems there. I mean, surely the local council will be wanting to promote a professional sports club in the area rather than work against it.
Yeah.
It seems strange to me, but I don't know the full ins and outs.
No.
So I don't really know what barriers Fax are putting up to it as well. There's allegations of unpaid rent that Fax dispute. And then allegations that Fax are treated differently to the football club that also would play there. It just seems strange that they're letting it rumble on. Surely the council have more important things to attend to.
You would think so, wouldn't you? Okay, South Sydney Rabbitohs have sacked centre Kirisom Alvar after he tested positive for illicit drug use for the second time. Alvar is the second player the Rabbitohs have sacked this week after forward Paul Carter, whose name is infinitely easier to pronounce, was released because of a contract breach. Carter had his contract terminated after failing to turn up for training, having reportedly had a night out on the alcohol, and has now admitted himself into a rehabilitation clinic in Thailand. Not quite sure why I had to go to Thailand to find a rehab clinic that was suitable, but there you go. It is not the first time that Carter has been in an alcohol-related trouble. In 2014, he was sacked by Gold Coast Titans for a string of drink-driving offences. Fair play. They breathe rarefied air. They've got a responsibility because of that. I think if you've had more than they should learn. They should learn and be punished suitably. These lads. What do you think?
Well, I think Alvar's kind of lucky to get to where he get along as much as he's had more than one chance.
Yeah.
More than one thing. Obviously, he had the domestic violence charge that ruled him out for almost all of last year. Now he has spoken about, he has tried to be.
Tried to demonstrate some contrition about that?
Yeah, he's tried to sort of come out about how he'll now support women's charities, understanding the wrongdoing of those sorts of actions. But then when he makes other false steps, you sort of think,
fuck him then.
Is the guy a reformed character or not? He hasn't really demonstrated that yet. There's been a lot of words, but you haven't seen the actions necessarily to back it up.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably just deserved for someone who's had his chances.
Yeah.
Carter similarly has had his chances. Now, to me, it's the drink driving that's the issue more so than getting pissed and not turning up for training. But obviously, the guy's got problems and needs help. Both these guys need help in different ways. And I do hope they get it, and I do hope they can be reformed characters and not either cause risk of death and injury to himself and other people in the Carter's case, or damage his body with drug use and damage women's body through being vile.
I do tend to agree with
humanity.
I do tend to agree with the take that people like Jay and they take on Twill on this one. Really, that I'm not saying they should never have a job again, but shouldn't be playing rugby league.
But he got to play rugby league again and still threw it away.
So he definitely shouldn't be playing fucking rugby league. Exactly. And finally, the RFL posted a pre-tax profit of £201,000 in 2015, according to its annual report. The RFL annual general meeting, chaired by Nigel Wood, reflected on a great 2015. Financially, 2015 was a very strong year, with the highest turnover recorded in a non-World Cup year since 2011, and investment around the sport at its highest ever level, he said. Year-on-year turnover increased by 33%, due mainly to increased broadcast and match income. Match income increased by 62% as a result of hosting the New Zealand International Series in the autumn of 2015. Sponsorship income grew by 64% due to an increase in the number and value of partnerships. So that's tentatively quite good news. We did have some contact, didn't we, Paul?
Paul Lewis, he said, do the profits not seem a little low due to attendances at the 3 test matches and the supposed $1 million made from the World Club Series? I thought the World Club Series was an RLIF event because it brought 2 different areas together and it was played under international rules and stuff.
So the money doesn't necessarily go to the RFL.
I don't know how that works money-wise.
Plus with the money that came in, did we not
they did put the World Club Series into the mix in the talk in the little book. I haven't read it all yet.
Right.
The annual review. I haven't read it all because it's about 50 pages. But I've skimmed over a couple of the statements and seen what the contents are of it and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just my question was always, what's the 200,000 going to be spent on now? Or after tax, 100 and whatever thousand.
Yeah.
What's that going to be spent on now? What's it going to be used for? Where are we going to advance? Who's going to get the benefits of it? That's what I'm more bothered about.
Yeah.
I think it's good to see some of the talk about the revenues and the sponsorship and income streams. I think it dresses it up a little bit that it's all good.
Yeah.
When we all know that the sponsorship we want is of a higher calibre than maybe what we've got, but we'll see how we go. It's positive news. always with the asterisks on it of, well, what's it going to benefit next?
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of the stuff about participation was good, though, linked into the Sky Try initiative and that sort of stuff. That was all positive.
Yeah, so it's fantastic stuff, provided the money is invested wisely. Right, that's your news from around the world of Rugby League. Then let's take a look back now at round 22 of Super League. So, round 22 of Super League kicked off on Thursday night then, and it was the Hull derby down at the KCOM Stadium, Hull FC at home for this one. And by the end of it, in front of 17,500 people, it was a relatively workaday victory for Hull FC, I thought. First 10 minutes, pretty attritional, and KR sort of matched them, but ultimately after this, FC's forwards and the errors that they forced from all KR, made it a relatively simple, trip back to the top of the table for FC. I was impressed with the combination Sneyd and Abdul in the halves, or Fat Danny Addy, as I like to call Jordan Abdul now, and Mark, the performances of guys like Mark Minicello and Danny Houghton that just dominated. KR looked broken after that first 10 minutes, never got back into it. 18-0 down at half time, made a bit of a fist of it in the second half, but easy pickings for Hull FC, really, which is a shame in a derby.
It pretty much felt done at half time for me, and then after 60 minutes I wasn't even watching the game anymore, really. I was preparing tweets and stuff, getting reviews in. That sort of activity was going on then, because it was getting a bit... Well, you said the errors that Hull FC forwards forced. It was as much the unforced errors that Hull KR made, and it seemed like there was a patch around either side of half time where they couldn't get out of their own half without dropping the ball on the 40-metre line, and then when they did get some ball up the other end from a penalty or a Hull FC error, they couldn't get it down. There was obviously the Ken Seo clanger. There was another. I can't remember who had the other opportunity. There was another opportunity.
They went off the other side and they bombed that, didn't they?
So they had a few opportunities to get some scores and to have made it closer at half time. And at half time, the scoreline probably didn't reflect the balance of the play, but it did reflect what we were starting to see creep into the game, which was Hull KR making untold errors. And then Hull FC just went through the gears. Mark Sneyd just controlled the pace of the game and put the ball where he wanted to do. Danny Addy kind of acted, I think, as more Jordan of like Abdul. That's it, Fat Danny Addy. It's an extra forward almost in a way. He carried the ball into the line a little bit more when he needed to. And there was Fanua made a pretty spectacular offload, didn't he, for one of the tries for Steve Michaels, I think it was, and then Sneyd's kicking game was crucial, weren't it, for a couple of the tries in there?
Oh, superb! The kick through for I think we're about to say the same thing. We were about to say. I was going to say the Danny Houghton try, the kick through for that, and Houghton bending his run to pick up the ball and get down. I thought was stupendous.
The touch on the kick for the Houghton try, I thought was. For the Minicello try, I thought was phenomenal. Yeah,
it's not just his goal kicking; it's his in-game kicking as well. That's impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, anything really else stand out in this one for you?
Not particularly. Just apart from Rovers' own ineptitude. No, not really. It was workaday, and FC did enough to win the game by the margin they did, and they deserved to go back to the top of the table with it. I didn't think Ben Thaler had a particularly poor game. I don't recall him making any really dodgy decisions. I don't mind watching Ben Thaler referee. I quite like the way he runs a game, to be honest. I know he's been criticised at times this season, like in Catalan, and I know he's not exactly Castleford's best mate, but I think he's one of our better refs, personally, so I had no problems there. What about you?
No, not much else to call on, really. Like I said, I drifted out of it in the second half.
I was dusting my house by 60 minutes.
This game was much closer on the stats than on the scoreboard, save for two key numbers. 10 breaks to 4 showed Hull FC had more cutting edge in attack, and 94% team tackle success to 88% for the Robins showed they executed better in defence too. Rovers actually won the metre battle and had more carries despite 2 more errors. 20 successful offloads helped them to these figures. 50 missed tackles is probably the number that they're ruining most, along with 17 errors. 50 missed tackles has happened 4 or 5 times this season.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's not a lot, is it?
So
it's a lot of missed tackles.
It's a bad shift.
Yes, it absolutely is. Individually, then, who stood out for us?
Well, Mark Minicello, the violin, had 2 tries, 10 tackle balls, 112 metres, 3 clean breaks. Steve Michaels on the wing, 2 tries, 6 tackles, 127 metres, 2 clean breaks. Danny Houghton went both ways, as he always can. 1 try assist,